Dispute over an alarm clock ends a career. So, just before my senior year in high school, I turned 18 and bought a car with my saved up years of babysitting money. I'd have liked one sooner, but my mother absolutely refused. At 18, in my big act of teenage rebellion, I went out and bought one. A couple months later, Auntie Asshole suddenly left her job from several states away and moved in with us, without her car. It cost less if she waited 6 months until spring to get it shipped. Something about snowbird travel patterns. She was cheap and a user as well as an asshole. As a result, I was expected to share my recently acquired car with Auntie Asshole until hers arrived. This seemed deeply unfair, but nonetheless it was agreed upon that she could use it for appointments and job interviews since I could take the school bus. I needed to be warned in advance because my bus stop was the second one of the route. It left a lot earlier than I needed to if driving direct, and I liked sleep. You may be wondering about now what this has to do with an alarm clock. Auntie Asshole is one of those people who likes to rile people up, then mock them for getting pissed off. She's always got a complaint, harsh word, and is feuding with somebody over something. Once she moved in with us, her complaint was my alarm clock. My room shared a wall with hers. The alarm was waking her mooching, unemployed, broke ass up every morning, and that pissed her off. Couldn't I just go to bed earlier so I didn't need an alarm clock? The morning schedule at our house went something in the ballpark of this. 5:30 a.m., my workaholic mother leaves for the office. 5:45 a.m., my alarm goes off if taking the bus to school. 6:15 a.m. My alarm goes off if driving to school. 6:15. I leave if taking the bus to school. 6:45. I leave if driving to school. 1:30. Never. Auntie Asshole's unemployed tushy needs to be anywhere. Auntie Asshole approached my workaholic mother about the horrific inconvenience of my using an alarm clock. Her solution was that my mother should wake me up every day at 5:30 before leaving. My mother told her to try earplugs or work it out between us. Workaholic mother was massively non-confrontational and wanted no part of an Auntie Asshole dispute. Auntie Asshole started sneaking into my room to unplug the clock after I fell asleep. I'm a hard sleeper, so she pulled this off a few times. I had a good number of tardies before I figured out it wasn't the new cat who initially got blamed. Woke up to see her standing over my bed one night. Creepy. I screamed like a banshee, waking the whole house. She claimed sleepwalking, and my mother let her get away with that lame excuse. I endeavored to solve the problem myself with some superglue. Not the brightest move I made. That house got sold with a bonus electric blue alarm clock, and Auntie Asshole started turning the alarm off instead of unplugging it. So I started sleeping with my alarm clock tucked behind my pillow. No way Auntie Asshole could do anything to it without waking me now. She was pissed at having not gotten her way and never let anything go ever. Auntie Asshole's next move was to get up when the alarm went off and race into the only bathroom with a shower. It was closer to her room than mine, so she always beat me there. She'd stash magazines in there to sit on the commode reading until right around 6:20. This is after the school bus has left, but still before I need to leave driving direct. Once I was taking a very rushed shower, she'd steal my keys and take my car, wherever the hell the unemployed go to drive around all day. She claimed that I just wasn't paying attention when she said she needed the car. She wasn't telling me. When my mother wasn't around, she made snide remarks that if she was woken up, she had just as much right to the bathroom as I did. I could solve this problem by not waking her up. In addition to this, she would take my car evenings and weekends always right before I had babysitting gigs. It never returned with more than fumes in the gas tank. She had to call roadside assistance twice for running out of gas because she'd guessed wrong on how far she could get on fumes. Needless to say, I was pissed, also massively inconvenienced, and a lot poorer. I had begged friends for last-minute rides or take a cab. She continued to blame me, and my mother stayed out of it. We got into a cat-and-mouse game with my keys where I eventually kept them on me at all times, even in the shower. This was an old car some years back. No electronic keys were harmed. The keys came in the shower with me because the counter wasn't enough to stop her from pulling the bathroom lock. Pocket door, trivial, and coming in while I was showering to take them. Again, creepy. This eventually resulted in her asking in advance to borrow my car for a job interview that probably wasn't. She went to the key shop and got my car keys copied. The next day, my keys safely back in my possession, she pulls the shower stunt again. She did it a lot, even when she wouldn't take my car. Auntie Asshole was an asshole. I head out to the driveway, keys in hand, and my car's not there. Legit thought she'd hot-wired it until I got home, and it showed no signs of tampering. I'm not much for poking the bear, but it was time to have this out. Auntie Asshole quite smugly admitted to copying the key, called me a selfish bitch who didn't know how to share, and many other unfortunate things I don't remember exactly. She wasn't giving it back. What was I going to do? I warned her that car was mine, and she did not have permission to use it ever again. This was a bridge too far for me. There would be consequences. She laughed in my face. The next morning, my car was not in the driveway. I'd expected this. My best friend's dad was a cop. I was practically a fixture in his house for a decade, and he was the closest thing I had to a father figure due to my own deadbeat dad. So I gave him a call, utterly distraught that the car I've worked so hard to get has been stolen from my driveway. He's very sympathetic. Did I mention my car had LoJack? It was actually a very nice car. Back when it was new anyway. We do all the reporting and whatever it takes for the cops to find it with LoJack. By mid-afternoon, they'd found it in the parking lot of an outlet mall. I don't know what the full details of the encounter were, as I've heard multiple versions of this part of the story over the years. She had some kind of bitch tizzy on them upon being accused of theft, including a tussle with an officer. It ended in charges of grand theft auto, resisting arrest, assaulting an officer, and some kind of license-related thing, because she'd never switched it to her new state of residence. Don't throw a bitch tizzy at a cop. They don't like it much. As this all took some time, she didn't get arraigned that day. As her unemployed broke ass had horrid credit and little money, she couldn't make bail. As I deleted her answering machine message begging my mother to come bail her out, my workaholic mother didn't even notice she was gone for almost a week. Once workaholic mommy did notice, I explained that my car had been stolen and I called the cops. I was handling the situation myself like she suggested. The look of dawning horror was amazing. Then she shrugged and went back to avoiding all confrontation. Auntie Asshole served 2 weeks in county lockup until she took a plea deal. I suspect they slow-walked her paperwork a bit. What happened after was glorious revenge. Auntie Asshole's remaining savings were used up on all the fines and court fees, so she finally got around to shipping her car and engaging in a job hunt. One problem, she was previously a teacher. She'd yet to get her certification in her new state. Now she had a rap sheet and was unable to pass the background check. Whoops, time for a new career as a telemarketer. Auntie Asshole didn't bother me much after that. I learned years later she only went after kids hard, and I had proved enough of an adult she realized there were consequences for her actions. We spent the next few months ignoring each other before I headed to college. And that's how a dispute over an alarm clock ended Auntie Asshole's teaching career. Edited to answer a few repeat questions. What's up with your mother? Mental illness. She was not a bad person. She simply had almost no capacity to deal with conflict and retreated into her work as a coping mechanism. With time and understanding, I am sympathetic to her role. She has since passed away. Why didn't you call the cops sooner? I had never dealt with anybody so lacking boundaries like Auntie Asshole before. I genuinely thought there was a limit, and I just had to handle things until we got there in the name of family harmony. It was also supposed to be temporary. I had college coming up quick, and she was supposed to find a job apartment, so it was very time-bounded. It's the nuclear option to call the cops on a family member, and a very scary thing to contemplate at 18 years old. I also wasn't sure it would work, given she could claim I was confused about permission, and the chances my mother would back me up were close to zero. Once I still had my keys in hand, and no car in the driveway, that was a game changer in my eyes. Can we get more of an epilogue? There's not a lot to say. I went no contact with Auntie Asshole after leaving for college. Between her prison stint and my departure, she ignored me, and I returned the favor. I found out later that she only seriously picks on kids. I'd proved myself an adult who could deliver consequences for her actions. Now I spend holidays with my husband's lovely family and visit the stable family members at other times. Somehow I have hair washing to do every reunion. Whoops, she's never gone back to teaching, thank goodness.